process some of your guys' performances this during fall camp about how you want to maybe utilize them throughout the season?
I don't really think it's going to change anything from that standpoint. I think at the beginning of the year, you know who's ready and you know who's not. Now, I do think that we always go into that first game saying, okay, these guys just aren't ready, and we're going to try to hold them. Maybe it's physically they're not ready. Maybe it's mentally they're not ready. Maybe it's just the opportunity's not great enough for them right now because of the people in front of them. But I think where it changes is you've got a great opportunity to keep them engaged a little bit better because maybe you have an opportunity to get them in the game. You can still only travel 72 when you go on the road, so that you're going to take the guys that can go win the game for you. But it gives you a little more flexibility when you're at home. And then I think where it will really change is later in the season, because or sometimes you might have a guy too that's on the bubble early on. Like we've had some guys in the years where we say, you know what, he's not quite ready right now. He's close, but let's just kind of see what happens these first 3 or 4 games. Whereas if you have a guy like that, you might be able to throw him out there and see how he does, see how he responds. So I think that's a little different, but I think more so the latter part of the season, you'll have a little more opportunity and slip those guys in there whenever you can.
Devin, you mentioned earlier Davian Feaster coming back with a little nick. What about like Tanner Muse and some other guys that are coming back from injuries?
Yeah.
How are they looking coming up?
Yeah, Tanner and Nolan. Nolan, y'all know, had the shoulder surgery and was having a great spring for us. I think first half, and then was out. So we're excited to get him back, and he looks good. They've released him. They've cut him. He'll have a restrictor on his pads, but he feels good. He's got his strength back. So the same thing with Tanner. Tanner's had a great summer. Looks great. I think he was 225 as well. He's locked in. He's ready to go. So Jurgen, I'm anxious to see Jurgen. The interesting thing about Jurgen is he can, with the new rule, he can actually play this year and next year. So he can get that whole year back because they change. They changed that rule if you're redshirted as a freshman and then you lose another year, it's like automatic. You don't have to do waivers and all this stuff. So he actually technically will be a junior this year. So he's got this year and next year. But how's he going to be? I don't know. We'll see. He feels great. We haven't played football in a while. And other guys,
Trey Lamar.
Trey looks great. He had a great spring. He had an excellent summer, and right now we're in a really good spot. I think Tavian might be the Tavian. I think that's it. I think he might be the only one that might be limited today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get him back going next week. And then Skowski. Skowski back in the summer had a little foot deal, but he should be good to go by next week too.
Dexter's 100%.
Dexter's great. Dexter. It's really amazing how well he played last year. And especially when he kind of got hurt again in the season, and still played well. But he's probably the happiest camper we got because this is the best he's felt in a long time, and he's put a lot of work in. His body's in great shape. He's strong as an ox. That big joker can move, so I know he's focused to go have a great year.
Coach, can you talk about the progression of Greg Hugel and his, coming back from injury, what you expect from him?
Yeah, I'm excited. And that's one of those things that has kind of quietly just kind of stayed in the shadows because it's not sexy to talk about the kickers, I guess. I don't know. It won't get me headlines on that, but we're going to have a kicking battle. We've got a serious competition going on right there. We all know what Hugel can do. I mean, he's had an unbelievable career and he's done a phenomenal job for us. And he's back and healthy and ready to go. And we threw him out there in front of 50,000 people or whatever just so he could kind of go do that, kind of get that feeling again. But he's excited. And then Alex Spence, what a spring he had. Started off terrible with his opportunity last year, but really finished strong. I think he hit about 6 out of 8 or so. And then he carried that momentum in the spring and had a great spring. We got BT Potter here now, who's amazing talent. We got Sawicki, who's out there. He's about 250, big old kicker. So I'm telling you, we're going to have, and it's not very subjective. It either goes between the pipes or it doesn't. There's no gray area. So I'm excited to see that competition. I think that's going to be as good as anything. But Hugel's doing great.
Coach, a couple weeks ago, Dave Doran kind of suggested that Clemson's new facilities might be a reason why y'all are at the top of the conference right now. What kind of impact on and off the field have you seen this complex have?
Well, I think it's great. I mean, we won the national championship before we ever were in this facility. Just to make that note, we didn't move into this building until after we won it all. We brought the trophy with us and stuck it right in the lobby. We weren't sure what was going to go in the lobby. And then January 9th of 2017, I went, you know what, I know what we put in that lobby. So, but it's a big deal. I mean, there's no question. I think that, buildings don't win. Logos don't win. At the end of the day, you can build a great building, but it's always the people and the culture that drives everything in that building that makes the difference, and who's coming through the doors. Those are the things that I think ultimately matter. But there's no question. I think the commitment to continuing to just get better, and I think that sends a message more than anything. We're always looking for ways to improve. We're always looking for ways to get better. We're getting ready to start construction here pretty soon on a sports science area. So we're just always trying to get better as a program. And the West Zone was great, and Dan Raddick, but it, I just got the job and they were doing that. I'm like, well, hey man, I'd have gone wherever they told me to go. But it wasn't long term what we needed. I'm thankful that Dan and the administration, they kind of got behind what I wanted to do, and we were able to build this building. But we were winning before we came in this building. And so it's definitely a part of it, though. There's no question. But it's not, you can't just go build a building and start winning. It's way more than that.
How do you plan to split up the QB reps to start camp? And is there a benefit that you guys have so much depth on offense that it's not so much that there's a ones and twos, that you've got guys that are pretty, you can kind of get a good look regardless of what you're working with?
Yeah. Well, I don't really like to call them ones and twos and threes. I have to kind of do that with y'all some, because y'all that's the only really way you're going to follow me on some things. But we don't call them. We call them orange, purple, and pride. We call them attack, swarm, and pride. I want them to think of themselves as a team. And I don't always go out there and say, okay, it's the orange and the attack, let's go. A lot of times I'll let the pride, or I'll say it's the orange versus the swarm, and I'll mix it up, because I don't want them to think that as themselves as a one or a two. I just want them to think, hey, you're on the field, get your job done. And so I mix it up. I do that all camp. I do that in the spring. I don't want the pride to think that they're going third every time. So I'll say, all right, pride, you started off, let's go. So you better know your stuff, and you better be prepared. And so we've done that for a long time. I think that's been one of the reasons that we've been able to create the buy-in that you have to have when you have a lot of good players. Because, we got a lot of good players, and there's going to be, my whole thing with the coaches, y'all know that I believe in playing people. I always have. Let's play as many guys as we can play. Listen, I spent my life as the second-team guy, all right? But I deserve to play, and I want, every minute I could get, I want it, all right? And I've always tried to focus on that. Now, I don't think you should be entitled to play. There's no entitlement. You're not entitled to play. You come to college, you still got to go earn that degree. You're not entitled to a degree. You got to earn it. You got to put the work in it. You got to deserve it. And it's the same thing as a player. You're not entitled to play. You got to earn it. But sometimes, I have a perfect example. I had Shaq Lawson and Vic Beasley. They were pretty good players, weren't they? And they were, we had Grady Jarrett, Carlos Watkins, DJ Reader, Sean Williams. We had all these guys. And Dan Brooks, I never knew who he was going to start and didn't care, because he didn't want to. Most time he'd say, well, I'm going to watch you practice. And sometimes it would be game day before he'd tell them who's running out there first. And that was because he wanted everything to count all week. And so sometimes you have that at a position where it's kind of 50-50. Just play them. But sometimes it's not 50-50. It's 80-20. All right? But let me tell you, for the morale of your team and the development of that 20 is critical that guy gets that. And so I've always believed in that. And, I mean, you look at us last year, I don't think anybody played more offensive linemen. We had like 8 guys over 400 snaps. So that develops depth. It develops buy-in. Guys are locked in. Hey, and that's why I tell our guys, don't worry about how many plays you play. Oh, that guy played 35 plays. I only played 10 plays. Well, that's fine. Well, how'd you play? You stunk with them 10 plays, and you want more? It don't work that way. Play well, And so that's just the way we do it here. And so that's how we practice. I mix it up all the time, and the standard doesn't change. Like when we sub, the other team not go, oh, timeout. They put a backup in. Let me put a backup in so it's fair game. It doesn't work that way. Everybody's got a job to do. So wherever you are, go earn your time and play well. And yeah, only one can run out there first, and that guy needs to earn that. It should matter. And so we have and the players determine that. The players set the depth chart. We don't set the depth chart. We get way too much credit for setting the depth chart. The players know. Trust me, they know. And so they determine who runs out there first. And that's all based on, their commitment, their performance in practice, and their knowledge, et cetera.
Coach,
Last one, guys.
The extra reps that your quarterbacks will get because of the loss of Hunter Johnson, how much will that benefit those guys as you go through August and the course of the season?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't answer your question how we're splitting the reps up. But we don't really do anything different than we ever have, whether we have Deshaun Watson here and whoever. I mean, we always take our reps, and when we go Skelly, we go 2 groups, and they all get the same reps. We'll have 4 quarterbacks rolling, and when we do our team groups, our 1s and 2s have always gotten the same amount of reps. And if we've had a situation where if we got 3 guys that we feel like are pretty equal, then we'll take those reps and maybe that first guy might get 4, and then the next 2 get 3 and 3 or something. But then we mix it up. Anytime we got competition, you want to make sure that you got as much apples to apples and oranges to oranges. So we mix it up. We did that all spring, so we can get a true evaluation. Not just, this guy went with the third team every single time. And, we had a left tackle who couldn't block Xavier Thomas. Because sometimes, you might have Xavier Thomas as the third team guy on defense, and you got a walk-on at left tackle who's, because that's all you got right there. Well, that can affect the evaluation. So we mix it up. We put them all different spots, and we'll have competition in every position. We'll change it up for a lot of these guys, not just quarterback.
Is there an advantage at all for those guys, the
Yeah.
3 that are left? I mean, I know you got Batson too, but
Yep.
just to have the more reps that they'll receive now.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Ben. He's got a long way to go. Obviously, we're just kind of getting going day 1 with him, but we'll see. But those other 3 could go win for us, and I think that's definitely could be a positive. You're not splitting it with 4, you're splitting it with 3, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, Joe. Appreciate it.